Welcome everybody to another round of World of Tanks subscriber replays. My name as always is Maxwell, and today's first video is from the user MTYGB, or P even. That's MTYGP, and he's driving the E75 on an encounter battle on Ruinberg. E75 being a tier 9 heavy tank for the Germans. So MTYGP going to be heading all the way along the long road here that leads right up to the cap circle, leaving some of his allies to maybe deal with the stuff that happens in the centre, although that WZ looked like he was going to poke over the ridge there. So MT just decided to himself that he might as well have a stop and just see if he could get a cheeky bit of early damage on him. Not really much of a rush to be getting into the city, into the cap circle, because let's face it, you're not going to get a rush cap off, especially with that many enemy heavy tanks coming to the city. So the Awful Panther doing a fantastic job of spotting people out. Unfortunately just gets himself taken out by the T54E1, but he has seen a huge contingent of enemy forces making their way into the city. So MT going to take advantage of that and going to set up position here where he can get nicely hulled down and then get some fire on the approaching enemy tanks. Does see the E75 there, who just takes out the 5916 and then backs away. So as you can see, there's only this M103, the Waffenträger in the south there, and himself in the E75 here to defend the city. He's going to get a beautiful shot on the lower plate of this E75 and then just backs off a little bit. What the enemy E75 mistake he makes here, though, is he continues to move. If you want to get some revenge damage, you probably should have just been pre-aimed at this location. But as it was, he decided to back off, and that's just going to allow MT to pick his shot here. E75 backs off, and he gets a great shot onto his tracks there. Unfortunate not to do a little bit of damage as well. Gets the shot and then backs off, allows the Conqueror to have a shot as well. So at least they've got a little bit of backup now in the city in the form of this Conqueror, but the rest of the force are all on that right hand flank. They've lost most of their scouts early on. There is a T95 advancing forward. He's already taken a huge chunk of damage, actually. He's only got about 800 hit points left now, 300 and some, as more people start laying fire down onto this behemoth. And everybody just trying to take this guy out before he can get into position. MT switching it up, the fire on his lower plate. Unfortunately, the slight incline angle of the T95 there made it a bit of an awkward shot, and that one just bounced. And this T95 will not be dissuaded from his course of action here. And MT should just be able to get the final shot there and take him out, and indeed he does, and he picks up kill number 1. The problem the T95 there had is nobody was coming with him. If the rest of the heavy tanks had all backed him up and coming behind him, they'd be in a much stronger position now. We should have 2 E75s and maybe that T32 in location here, as it is that S51 gets taken out. I don't know what he was doing, pushed so far up into the city there. Should really have been at the back. I think he saw the way that the battle was going on the right hand flank and decided it was going to be safer in the city. Unfortunately, he picked the wrong street and got himself taken out. This Conqueror is now actually left, so again that just knocks it back down to this M103, the E75 and that Waffenträger. M103's already taken a significant chunk of damage as well. Only got 650 hit points left. And it looks like the enemy team is doing the smart thing of all pushing around at the same time here. You can see this ST1 looking like he's wanting to make a move, getting himself into a great side-scraping position. Unfortunately, the E75 in the background, not so lucky, and he gets a couple of big hits. Unfortunately, none of those from MT there. He's just bouncing. This M103 is in a really, really tight spot here. MT wants to get forward to offer him some support, but doesn't want to block him in so that he dies. Takes his time with a shot and gets a good bit of damage on this E75, and now he's just got to hold off for as long as possible, as it's just himself here that M103 and the Waffenträger have fallen, and it's him against 4 heavy tanks now. Luckily for him, this E75 I don't think really knows how to angle his tank properly. This ST1 though looks like he does. Luckily neither of them able to get any damage on to the very, very strong E75 here, and MT just got to take his time. Gets a lovely hit on the ST1 through underneath the M103's turret there. Unfortunately, just didn't do any damage. And then T54E1 comes steaming in here. Unfortunately, he didn't catch MT quite enough by surprise. And all he's getting is side and front armor. And then YGP is able to finish him off and pick up kill number 3. So, a little bit of an ill-fated rush there from the T-54E1, and I think MT's been able to hold off just long enough. And another great hit on that E75 there to take him out and pick up kill number 3. And that puts him over the 3,000 damage done mark. As you can see, the WZ has arrived to offer some support, and the two of them are going to try and work down this ST1. Unfortunately, the ST1 is just a ridiculously bouncing beast, a bit like the E75, not able to get a shot through his commander's hatch. This WZ taking a little bit of cover behind MT in the E75 here, as he's got a lot more hit points than the WZ does. This ST1 still trying to get himself into a side-scraping position. The two of them just going to back off and offer some support to this T30 instead, who is moving in on the cap circle. And that's going to lure the ST1 in, and MT going to take this opportunity to fire. Unfortunately, the ST1 just rose a little bit into the air as he was taking his shot, and that one just missed the commander's hatch, but the ST1 really taking his time with that shot, getting a good chunk of damage back. Unfortunately for him, he took so long to take his shot that MT is reloaded. He finds the weak spot and picks up kill number 5. So, game absolutely even at the moment at 11 kills to 11, although most of the enemy tanks are hemmed into one position, with the 3 allied tanks kind of pinning them in place. Finds a KV-5 here. There's no way this KV-5 is going to get the better of this situation. The penetration of the KV-5's gun isn't very good whatsoever, and with that huge radio operator's bulge at the front of the tank, then MT is going to have an easy job heading him. To be honest, probably would have been better to turn his side armor onto target, or just take cover behind his fallen ally there. Takes a hit from the M12, so that just shows that the artillery is still in this game. MT going to head around the corner and try and take on the E75 that looks like he wants to go and flank the Conqueror. The Conqueror who abandoned him in the city earlier on, but it looks like the Conqueror's got the T32 on one side and the C75 on the other. So he's deciding to pick the best of a bad situation and just try and charge down the E75 rather than try and take on both of them at once. Not really sure. There we go. The T32 comes into view and he gets a shot on MT's rear, but MT decides just to keep driving, and the two of them are going to pressure down this E75. The Conqueror can't finish the job off himself, and MT is going to be here as backup. Two of them working together for a concerted effort here, which is absolutely what they want to be doing. Conqueror gets a good hit on the E75, and MT's able to finish him off, and that just leaves this T32 and the M12 artillery. T32 is just nowhere near quick enough, and MT is reset up in this time, and now he's just got to wait for this T32 to come around the corner. I think the T32 is going to have a bit of blood in his nostrils, and he's going to think that he's going to get an easy kill on this one because he's only got 200 hit points. Unfortunately, the amount of hit points you have doesn't affect how awesome your armor is, and the E75 is able to just turn that shot aside. Got to be careful here though, because T32 is almost certainly going to be loaded by this point, but not going to have the penetration required, and the Conqueror just comes around from behind, being a pal and taking him out, and that just leaves the M12 artillery. So this is pretty much just GG. You can see the M12 hanging around in the background there, so the two of them are just going to try and charge him down, but I think at this point MT realizes that he's got 5 and a bit thousand points of damage. He's got himself 7 kills. He's not greedy. He doesn't need any more, and he's just going to allow that Conqueror to go in and pick up the kill. And to be honest, he doesn't want to get derped in the face and killed, so he just allows that Conqueror to go and take the shot for him. I think what he's probably hoping is that the Conqueror goes around the corner, the M12 derps him and kills him, and then he can pick up the kill. But as it is, Conqueror gets that one. MTYGP not being greedy, because he's already gotten himself 5 and a bit thousand points of damage and 7 kills. So absolutely awesome replay from you. Thank you very much for sending that one in. And don't forget to stick around, because as always, the score screens and another game are coming right up. And our second replay of the day is from the user Keldor. That's Keldor, and he's driving the T20 on a standard battle on Erlenberg. T20 being a tier 7 medium tank for the Americans. And anybody who's watched me for any length of time knows this is probably one of my favourite medium tanks. I had a lot of success with this back in the day. I think I had about a 60% win rate in this thing just because it is a fantastic medium tank and very underrated. People don't really rate it that highly, don't really think of it very much, but as you can see, it's got a great turn of speed. It's very agile, decent hit point pool at 1100, and its cannon is okay. It's good for the Americans, really. It's got a decent reload speed, decent penetration, and decent alpha damage. So I just want to preface this replay by saying this replay isn't really about a massive kill score, the massive even damage score of this one. It's about the tactics and the way that Keldor plays here. And I think as this one unfolds, you're going to see exactly what I mean. So first up, he's going to be taking to the hill and having a look and see who he can spot out. There has been one leopard found on the far left-hand side, but I don't think Keldor can really get a shot on him. Gonna try anyway, and then spots out an E25. Has to fall back. I don't think he's been spotted himself, so I'm fairly certain from memory that he does have a 6th sense on this tank. Having a shot at where the E25 was last spotted. And again, still don't think he's been spotted out here. Finds an IS. Just going to have a quick look to see if he can keep anybody else spotted. Finds the IS again. It looks like he's relocated. Unfortunately, just bouncing on that one. I think he's probably been spotted now, so I think my memory must have failed me, and he doesn't have 6th sense unless that IS was just blind firing on this position. So Keldor going to be staying on the hill here, keeping everybody he can spotted while his allies get into position. Finds a KV-1S here, lets his gun close in, and unfortunately that one just bouncing on the troll Russian armor there. Going to have a shot at the E25, as that one is a considerably softer target than those Russian heavies. Does get a little bit of damage on him finally. KV-1S looks like he's trying to back off. Not quite able to get any damage on that IS either, but just keeping them pinned down with fire, because as you may notice, Keldor is now the only person on this flank. He is the entire right flank himself, while his whole team is on the far left-hand side. He does have that T25-2 camping in the buildings there, but to be honest, Keldor could probably do with his support right here at this point on the map, as if the enemy team decides to do a quick head count of who they can see on that left-hand side, they're going to realise that there's next to nobody over on this right-hand side. And I think this Tiger 1 and KV-1S have decided to just make a quick head count. Just takes a shot from somebody there. Probably that E75, as it sounded like... E75? E25, as it sounded like a small caliber gun, and it didn't penetrate the gun mantlet, as you can see there. In fact, not really sure where that one bounced, but it did. Still trying to keep these guys spotted as they come in. I think he thinks that he's got some support in the back there, but I don't even think the artillery's paying him any heed. So Keldor just decides to do the smart thing of just drop back. He did keep as many people as he could spotted for as long as he could. Now he's just going to have to drop back here to a different ridge, and then hopefully he can lay down some fire on the enemy tanks as they come in. Because with the Tiger 1 and that KV-1S up on the hill, if they catch him out and catch him off guard, he's not going to have anywhere to retreat to, and they're going to have shots onto his side and rear armor. Finds out the E25 here. Finds the KV-1S as well. Taking his time with the aiming here. Deciding that he doesn't really want to fire at the KV-1S just yet until his armor is angled in exactly the right way. He's trying to get a shot onto his track there to track him with his lower plate pointed up in the air. Unfortunately, that one just didn't quite work out. And the KV-1S is down over the other side of the ridge and long gone. Hopefully, again, these guys think that there's a lot more guns lined up here than there actually are, as they are still not pushing. But as you can see, the allied team on the left-hand side faring a little bit better. They are losing 6 kills to 5. So Keldor's going to have to pull something magical out the bag, and what he does here is pretty smart. Doesn't fire at the E25 immediately, lets him get a little bit further forward and then fires at him, and what that allows him to do is it allows him to get another shot at the E25 as he's backing away. And so instead of just getting one hit and then the E25 immediately ducking back behind the ridgeline, he got 2 shots on him for the price of 1 by allowing that E25 to come a little bit further down the field. But it's all going to go horribly wrong any minute now. As you can see, this IS is steaming in on the right-hand side, and Keldor just notices that one and decides that he's going to have to do something about it. So gets a shot through the side armor of that IS there, and the IS starts to back off and point his front armor onto target. Not sure if Keldor's been spotted here, as he hasn't taken any return fire, but again, just keeping these guys spotted for as long as possible, as there is literally nobody else on this side. Finally takes a hit from that Tiger 1 there, but it only takes his track out, and then I think everybody's just about realised that Keldor's the only guy on this flank, so they all start to make a beeline for him. Got no artillery support over here anymore, as the artillery's made a run for the other flank. They could see which way the wind was blowing. The Allied teams pulled this one ahead now at 8 kills to 6, thanks to the fact that they had their entire team on the other flank, compared to just having Keldor over here and the enemy team concentrating at least 4 tanks over here for him to contend with. Now what he's decided to do is just relocate, and he's going to circle around, finds the E25, he's moving at speed, but he takes him out, and that's a beautiful shot to pick up his first kill now. And here we see he's backing off here and keeping this IS in his sights, because he still does have that T25-2 on his right-hand side, and hopefully he can put some fire into this IS and offer him some support. That is, if the T25-2 isn't AFK. Haven't seen him actually do anything just yet. There we go. That's surely a shot from the T25. And Keldor's done a fantastic job of just backing off, relocating, and keeping fire on the attacking enemy tanks here. It's KV-1S getting into cover from Keldor. But will he have one more shot? It doesn't matter, because that T25-2 finishes him off. And now the T25-2 is taking fire from this Tiger. And Keldor has, oh, beautiful shot there from the artillery to keep him tracked. Now it's just going to be a case of working him down, as he is the last attacker on this flank. The rest of his allied team starts to close in now. Keldor gets another good hit on that Tiger. Not sure who's going to pick up the kill on this one. And there we go. The Rheinmetall picks up the kill, and that just leaves this KV-2 in and around the base. And that is pretty much GG and the victory. So as you can see, not a massive kill score and not a massive damage score, but absolutely beautiful play there from Keldor, keeping himself alive, keeping the flank stalled for as long as possible, all by himself there, keeping the enemy team guessing and deciding whether they want to attack or not. And in the end, he stalled an entire 5-man push all by himself for long enough for his team to get him. Beautiful if he could pick up this KV-2 as a reward, but no, he's content with his 1 kill, 2,500 points of damage, and like I said, holding the right-hand flank all on his own there, the real star of this match. So absolutely awesome replay there from Keldor. Thank you very much for sending that one in. Don't forget, guys, if you've got yourself a great replay, then please send that in to replay@screenreality.com. Link for that is in the description. Just put the replay file or the link to the What Replay website where I can find that replay. If you enjoyed this video, found it useful, informative, you learned something, or you just enjoyed it, then consider hitting that subscribe button, because there's a lot more World of Tanks content on this channel. Leave me a like, put a comment in the comment section below if you want to add something to the discussion. My name has been Maxwell, this has been World of Tanks, and I will catch you guys next time.